The environmental policy of the Joe Biden administration includes a series of laws, regulations, and programs introduced by United States President Joe Biden since he took office in January 2021. Many of the actions taken by the Biden administration reverse the policies of his predecessor, Donald Trump. Biden's climate change policy focuses on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, similar to the efforts taken by the Obama administration. Biden promised to end and reverse deforestation and land degradation by 2030. The main climate target of the Biden administration is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by the United States to net zero by 2050. A climate team was created to lead the effort. On his first day in office, Biden began to make policy changes to protect the environment. He began revising and strengthening the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, and ordered a number of executive orders aimed at reviewing or undoing the environmental policies of the former administration, including removal of some wildlife protections, the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline, and drilling for oil and gas on federal lands. In the same day, he rejoined the Paris Agreement. Biden supported climate justice and sustainable transport. The Biden administration delivered a tax plan to Congress aiming to replace fossil fuel subsidies with incentives for green energy. Its proposed budget includes a 30% increase in funding for clean energy, including in rural communities. Biden has ordered the amount of energy produced from offshore wind turbines to be doubled by 2030. In April 2021, Biden hosted a virtual climate summit with 40 world leaders in November 2021. He advanced measures to reduce global warming with other world leaders at the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP26. After 4 years of absence under the former president, the U.S. sought to regain its credibility. In November 2021, Biden signed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, a major pillar of his environmental policy. By July 2022, the Biden administration had created 54 environmental policies and proposed 43 more. In August 2022, Biden signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, which includes the largest federal climate change investment in American history. The Inflation Reduction Act alone can create $3 trillion in climate investments in the 2022 to 2032 period and $11 trillion in overall infrastructure investments by 2050. According to some estimates, with the Inflation Reduction Act and other federal and state measures, the United States pledge in the Paris Agreement, 50% to 52% greenhouse gas emissions reductions from 2005 by the year 2030, can be within reach. Some environmental organizations, including Sierra Club, Sunrise Movement, Earth Justice, and more claim that President Biden took 322 actions to protect the environment, more than any other president in history. The final target of the administration is reaching carbon neutrality in the United States by 2050. Joe Biden sees climate change as an existential threat, a view supported by most in the scientific community. During his inauguration, Biden said, "A cry for survival comes from the planet itself, a cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear." However, some activists have criticized the administration's policies for being insufficient to prevent catastrophic climate change. Democratic control of the United States Congress raises the chances that the administration will be able to pass climate-related legislation, although members like Senator Joe Manchin hold key voting positions and could block proposed bills from passing the Senate. Biden's climate plan changed significantly in 2020. In the beginning, it was criticized by many environmental groups as not being aggressive enough, or even being detrimental contrary to prior stances on climate. Biden consulted with them, mainly through the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Forces, and included many of their recommendations in his plans, after which it received more support. The administration set a target of achieving zero emissions from the power sector by 2035. Other sectors with considerable emissions are agriculture and construction. Biden's climate plan includes a strong increase in green building. According to the plan, 4 million buildings in the United States should be upgraded, as well as 2 million weatherized in the next 4 years. This is expected to create 1 million green jobs. The entire climate plan is expected to create 10 million green jobs. This number is smaller than other proposals like the Green New Deal, which claims to guarantee a job for every American. Biden ordered the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, to prepare a report about the impacts of climate change. Biden also included John Kerry, the climate envoy, in the National Security Council. He created a National Climate Task Force and the White House Office of Domestic Climate Policy. He said, "In my view, we've already waited too long to deal with this climate crisis, and we can't wait any longer. We see it with our own eyes, we feel it, we know it in our bones, and it's time to act." He also mentioned that climate action is linked with other aspects of his agenda, such as health, jobs, and security. As of August 2021, some calculations suppose that the infrastructure bill, the budget reconciliation bill, if passed, will cut emissions by 45% by 2030. Administrative orders from Biden and some states should increase the reduction to 50%. In September 2021, the EPA planned to issue its final rule to reduce hydrofluorocarbon (HFC) emissions by 85% within 15 years. HFCs are greenhouse gases that are thousands of times more potent than CO2. In December 2021, Biden signed an executive order directing the U.S. government to cut its own emission by 65% by 2030 with different measures, including energy efficiency, electric vehicles, and renewable energy.